Couch Devotionals with Pastor Scott. Good morning and welcome to another Couch Devotional with Pastor Scott. Here's a little messy this morning. We are going to be looking at Exodus chapter 2, verses 16 through 31. These are kind of some more laws, interpretations of the Ten Commandments, and we're also going to be looking at Justo L. Gonzalez's book, Mañana, in which we're going to learn a little bit about sin and what it means to sin. And we're going to begin here, Exodus 22, 16 through 31, and then we'll talk about the book. When a man seduces a virgin who is not engaged to be married and lies with her, he shall give the bride price for her and make her his wife. But if her father refuses to give her to him, he shall pay an amount equal to the bride price for virgins. You shall not permit a female sorcerer to live. Whoever lies with an animal shall be put to death. Whoever sacrifices to any god other than the Lord alone shall be devoted to destruction. You shall not wrong or oppress a resident alien, for you were aliens in the land of Egypt. You shall not abuse any widow or orphan. If you do abuse them, when they cry out to me, I will surely heed their cry. My wrath will burn, and I will kill you with the sword, and your wives shall become widows, and your children orphans. If you lend money to my people, to the poor among you, you shall not deal with them as a creditor. You shall not exact interest from them. If you take your neighborhood's cloak and pawn, you shall restore it before the sun goes down. For it may be your neighbor's only clothing to use as cover. And what else shall that person sleep? If your neighbor cries out to me, I will listen, for I am compassionate. You shall not revile God or curse a leader of your people. You shall not delay to make offerings from the fullness of your harvest and from the outflow of your presses. The firstborn of your sons you shall give to me. You shall do the same with your oxen and with your sheep. 7 days it shall remain with its mother. On the 8th you shall give it to me. You shall be people consecrated to me. Therefore you shall not eat any meat that is mangled by beasts in the field. You shall throw it to the dogs. So we are looking at the idea of sin, and we see a lot of you shall nots, and this is wrong, and I'm going to persecute you or bring about justice if this happens. And a lot of this has to do with how we treat each other in relationship and how we care about each other. How do we advocate for each other? How do we bring about something that is more just? We talked about our hermeneutical lenses, the way in which we interpret Scripture, and we need to kind of put those on this morning, again like yesterday, because some of these things are just foreign to us. We don't have male or female slaves anymore. We don't have, a bride price for those that are going to be married. I didn't have to pay 7 camels for Megan's hand in marriage. She's worth at least 10. That's a joke. We make this joke all the time. So, but anyway, we don't deal with these sorts of topics anymore because they're so foreign to us. They seem so outside of our world. So we need to put on our hermeneutical lenses to read Scripture like this. But there are some universal truths that are still held in here. How we treat those that are foreigners to this land, or even to this country today. How we treat those that are in need, those that need money or need help in some kind. I'd like to read now from Mañana, Justo Gonzalez's book, because he talks about sin and the relationship that, or the lack of relationship that causes sin. It is not good for us to be alone. An individual alone is not the person that God intended. We are created for a otherness. It is only when that for otherness takes place that we are human beings that God has intended. this for otherness is for God as well as for creation and for other human beings. We stand amidst God's creation as a part of it and responsible to it and to others, and the concrete expression of our responsibility to God. As Ortega y Gasset's famous dictum states, "Yo soy yo y mi circunstancia," I am I and my circumstance. Sin is the violation of that for otherness. Sin is the violation of God's image in us, when precisely the image of God's for otherness. The most common form of sin, then, takes its wrongful dominance and thirst for it. Adam names Eve, and then therein lies the beginning of our society's dominance. Wrongful sex is sinful because it denies both of our for otherness and that of others. Joining house to house and land to land is sinful because it too denies the other's right to shelter and land. Idolatry is sinful because in it we make ourselves a God who no longer demands our for otherness. Dog eat dog becomes the standard in our society. This is what Jesus would call the rule of mammon, over against the reign of God, and no one can serve two masters. Sin happens when we can no longer see a person as a person, when we can no longer see them as the image of God before us. And when we wrongfully deal with that, when we treat each other with poor intentions and wrong desires in our heart, we sin against them, and we sin against ourselves, and we sin against God. So the question today is, who is the other in your life that you need to see right now? Who is the person that has been demonized, or a group of people who has been demonized and you do not have a relationship with? Who do you need to specifically work on a relationship with in order to cease a way of sinful being with them, in order so that we can recognize and treat each other with this image of God? This has been Couch Devotionals with Pastor Scott. Another hard one today, but that's just what faith is. It's a hard look at ourselves and a journey towards becoming one with God, and that's important. So we'll see each other tomorrow, same time, same place. May peace walk with you today. Couch Devotionals with Pastor Scott.